What up, college hoops, coast to coast? We're back at it again. We got a special HBCU Team of the Week edition. We'll talk about the Southern Jags, and we got head coach Sean Woods joining us. We'll let Kevin intro the team a little bit, and then we'll get straight to it.
Yeah, they've had a lot of success coming off a really exciting win on the road at Kent State. It's a good Kent State basketball team, and trailed by 20 in the first half, came back, rallied, and won it at the end. The Ken Palm win probability chart looks like an exponential curve. Southern was all the way at the bottom all game, and the last 5 minutes went like this, and they won the game. So it's cool for them. Obviously, those moments are special, and they're off to a really good start, 6-6 on the year. Obviously, play a tough schedule. Played at Louisville, played at Kentucky. We're competitive in both of those games.
Yep.
I think a team that certainly has an opportunity to be a factor in the league. So excited to chat with Coach Woods.
Yeah, so without further ado, we'll bring in Coach Sean Woods. Coach Woods, what up?
What up, B? What's up, man?
Good morning. Thanks for joining us. We know you got plenty going on, so we're excited to have you.
Yeah.
So when you heard this news, being Team of the Week, you're like, man, who are these people talking about we're Team of the Week? What was the reaction to that?
One of my sisters told me, Ryan Price told me, and it was a big deal. We did our guys are really giving us everything, man. I'm fortunate this year. COVID kind of hurt us last year, and then the year before that, we had won 16 of our last 18, and was hot as I don't know what. And on our way to the tournament, we had to turn around because of the COVID situation. So, that knocked us out of a potential championship, I thought. And then last year it was just a fiasco. You never could get control of the COVID situation. With protocols and you got to be in for 14 days here. You never had your whole team. It was like coaching AAU almost. You never could practice. And all you was trying to do is really stay healthy,
right?
For the most part, and it was bigger than basketball, and how people can judge coaches and success during COVID is beyond me. When everybody's really going through a situation where the unknown, where basketball was put on the back burner,
right?
And you want to put emphasis on athletics when it was a life and death situation. So,
right.
Last year was kind of a wash, and then this year I was just so excited because most of my success as a coach starts in the summertime with off season, and I didn't have that the year before.
Yep.
And I had it this year with my whole team. And as you can see right now, the success that we're having early is because of being able to work out and do some of those things and really reestablish your culture in the summertime, and it's kind of paying off now.
Coach, I read obviously you have 6 wins, 2 wins in a row, if I'm not mistaken, against in-state team, and then you got a big mid-major win as well. But I think I read something, American Conference you checked off with a win, Ohio Valley you checked off with a win, Southland Conference, Mid-American. So you kind of checking off the list of different conferences. What does that mean kind of to the program in a sense to be able to say we've beaten some of these teams in these other leagues that people give more credit to than they give maybe the SWAC?
I'm not a SWAC guy. I'm a basketball coach, and I don't look at it as a SWAC situation. I don't look at my team and my program as a SWAC. I think saying that across the board with all teams is belittling, who we are as college basketball teams. We're a college basketball team. Every team in the SWAC is a college basketball team. So, they don't say, say for instance, Dayton, you don't say a Atlantic 10 team, you say Dayton. When you mention, Kent State, you don't say what conference they're in, you say Kent State. Well, we got to get to the point now where just because we're an HBCU, stop saying it's a SWAC school or things like that. We're a college basketball team, and as you can see, we can be just as good as any major team in the country. And that's where we are right now, and that's where we're trying to stay on a consistent basis.
Coach, I know you guys got the opportunity to go play at Kentucky earlier this month, and it was branded like the Unity Series, and there were some cool moments as a part of that. What did that game mean for you, for your program, and what it says kind of about HBCU basketball generally? There have been a lot more of these kind of challenges and events and opportunities for you guys to be on the map and get opportunities to get that extra exposure. What did that game mean for you guys?
I'll tell you what, the experience was great. And I liked it because it took all the emphasis off of me being a former Kentucky basketball player. I mean, it was so educational going to the Underground Railroad Museum, learning about the Underground Railroad experience and what really happened. It peeled everybody's cap back because when you mention the Underground Railroad, the first person you mentioned is Harriet Tubman. And she was just a piece in the movement. You find out who really ran it, and also it brought things back full circle because I always tell my guys, life is bigger than basketball. And, everybody starts somewhere, and it gave us an opportunity to see that we all can get along. And when we get along and we help each other, great things happen. And that's what that trip was all about, unity, helping one another. It ain't just there were still some good white people that helped black folks get to freedom. And, everybody needs somebody. And when it all comes together, it's a beautiful thing. And they've been doing it since the beginning of time. And it was just brought to the forefront. And I look at Cal, what he's doing in these other situations. They're doing is it's showcasing what HBCUs are all about when it was never that way. And I was giving out, HBCUs opportunity to be more confident and being normal when they're going to play a game, whether it's football, basketball, whatever. The only bad thing is the travel. It's always got to be on somebody else's court instead of, being on our court. And that's where things have got to start changing a little bit more. Is we need some of these games to come back to us, and it's starting to, because next year I think we're going to Arizona, and then Arizona's coming back to us. So it's starting to happen a little bit, and then now you'll see, the parity. Anybody, home court advantage is home court advantage. If Kentucky goes and plays Alabama at Alabama, Kentucky's going to have a hard time getting out of there. But if Alabama goes to Kentucky, Alabama's going to have a hard time getting out of there. So, say, for instance, if Kent State, it's hard to win at Kent State, but it would be hard to come to Southern and win at Southern if you're Kent State or whoever. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, a road game is a road game. And because we have to play so many road games before our conference starts, that's why our record is so bad. I mean, it's pretty much under 500 because the travel and because we got to make so much money. And you're trying to get the best money for your buck. So sometimes you got to go way out to the West Coast and take a hard trip, wake up at 3 a.m, meet at 4, go catch a flight at 6 or 7, fly 2 hours, have a layover for 4 hours, and then get there that night, late at night, 10, 11, 12, 1 o'clock at night. Then you got to play a game the next day. Right. Nobody's going to be ready and have success doing that.
Right.
And that's the story that people don't understand. It's bigger than just us showing up at the game and what you see. You don't know what's going on behind the scenes. Like, for instance, for real quick, we beat Kent State, and I'm going to tell you why that game was such a major feat. We woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning, had to meet at Southern's campus at 4. Okay, we had to drive an hour to New Orleans to catch a 7 o'clock flight. So we get to New Orleans at 5. All right, the flight is delayed because of fog. So because we had such a large party, you just can't get on the next flight. We couldn't catch a flight until 1:30. So we're sitting in New Orleans airport until 1:30. We've been up all night now. Okay, so you get on the flight at 1:30. All right, you fly an hour and a half to Dallas. In Dallas airport for 4 hours. Okay, fly from Dallas, okay, to Cleveland. Get off the plane. Got to get your luggage. Got to get on the bus. Drive an hour, okay, to Kent. We didn't get to Kent to our hotel until 12 o'clock. We still had to eat. So by the time we ate, it's 1 o'clock. You're not getting into your bedroom to 1:32, winding down. Okay. Now we got to wake back up the next morning and have an early game at 5:30. So you wonder why we were down 20 some points in the first half. We were zombies. We were zombies. And all of a sudden, I knew it. And I was like, hey, I went in there and I was getting, doing whatever I could to motivate my team to not buy into what just went down from a travel standpoint. Right. I went in there and just said, forget it. I'm not coaching you guys. I walked out. They got together, came back, and the second half was magnificent. You know what I mean? We're down 17 with 7 minutes to go or something like that. Come back and win at the, at the buzzer. I mean, that's a feat. That's one of the. I've been doing this a long time, and I've won championships, going to the NC2A and things like that. This is probably one of the biggest wins just from a circumstance standpoint in my career. Just with that, So that's what people don't understand about what goes on with us, because we have to raise this money, and our travel was not great. We don't get to leave this day of the game or fly private jets and things like that to get in and get out. We're flying commercial. And with 20 people, it's hard to just have, direct flights. And you're going to have layovers. You're going to have things like that, Right. So you're eating fast, you give them $10 or something. They're eating, not great in the hotel. You got to make sure they're drinking water, fluids, because you're dehydrated and jet lag, being in the airport, on planes. People don't consider that, and they don't know exactly what goes on. And it's kind of tough. And we have it worse than major schools. You put a Kentucky or any of these high Power 5 schools in our situation from just a travel standpoint, and I guarantee you the results won't be the same as they are with them right now.
100%.
Kevin wrote a really good article, so I'll let him ask the next one on. He did a kind of deep dive on Coppin State and kind of their schedule this year, early in the year. He works for Sports Illustrated, wrote a really good article. So he's got his really up close look at HBCU life. So he's got a good perspective. So I'll let him kind of go with the next one.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing that kind of stood out when I was able to follow him around a little bit, and then obviously kind of checking with them throughout the process, was like, they've got a head coach doing laundry after a game. Like, they lost the game to Loyola Chicago opening night, and post game, Juan Dixon's like collecting laundry and doing laundry so they could play the next day. And I think that's one of the other things that people forget about, at HBCUs, because of the financial side, is like the amount of extra work that is put on, small coaching staffs. Can you speak to some of the stuff that, your staff does that, maybe, like at Alabama or Kentucky, their staff wouldn't have to even think about, just to, keep your program, moving on a day-to-day basis?
Oh man. I mean, one thing about being down at this level, you learn how to do everything, from, like I said, washing clothes to going out, getting food, making sure that the guys are eating, being up all night, doing laundry, being up all night, doing scout. You don't have that type of staff to where you got, 6 to 8 guys, 10 guys. They're not even real coaches that are doing the little things that keeps a program going. So you got to, your hands are, you got to do everything. And it's like being single, and you got to wash your dishes. You got to cook, you got to clean, you got to do everything. So it's challenging, but it's just the way it is from a financial standpoint. And you just got to keep, picking up your bootstraps and keep it going. But it's a humbling experience, and everybody can't do it. I remember when I was at Mississippi Valley, I never had a home game before conference. I would have to play 12 straight home games. And the year we won 17 straight and went to the NCAA tournament, I was 1-12 and came back and won 17 straight. And I'm talking about, we had nothing. And I had to raise just that year in guaranteed games almost $1 million, like $987,000.
Wow.
in guaranteed games. Okay. And that's tough. I don't care how good your team is. Losing is losing. I don't care if you lose in North Carolina every night. Losing is losing.
Right.
And it wears on you. And even as a coach, if you're competitive, you're always going back. I don't care if you're playing the national champions. You're always watching that film saying what could you have done better to make to make the outcome a little bit better. So you're beating yourself up with that, especially if you're a competitor.
Right.
Instead of going to those games saying we're going to lose anyway. I don't know I don't know how you do that.
Yeah, you're not wired like that, Coach.
So that's what I had to take a step back and become realistic, but I kept knocking that door down, and being smart from a scheduling standpoint, and say, hey, how can I go from Mississippi Valley not winning any pre-conference games? Then I went to Morehead, and Morehead's not that much better to OVC school, but I was winning a lot of those pre-conference games. And I was like, wow, what's so different? It's the mentality, you know what I mean? And also, going in, well, we're just doing this for money, you know what I mean? So we're going to go in and get our brains beat out, so and so and so and so. Well, like you said, B, I'm not built like that. So it was very frustrating. The first 3 months when I was at Mississippi Valley was grueling for me. Getting your head bashed in because you're going to North Carolina, then you got to fly out to Gonzaga and play Gonzaga on a bad trip, and then drive over to Washington State, and then come back down to UCLA. And these teams are sitting there resting, sleeping in their beds, and we're just, we're like gypsies. And not only is our bodies weary, our minds are weary too.
Right.
And as a coach, if you're tired, what do you think your players feeling?
I got one to jump on that, Coach. It's like, obviously you had a ton of success at Mississippi Valley. It's another HBCU. You go to Morehead. Now you're a Southern. What is the experience at Mississippi Valley? How does that help you now as you're putting Southern in a position where they're competing to go to the championship and go to the tournament and go dancing? What did you draw from that time that helps you now with this program?
Well, when you're working with hardly nothing, you have to be creative. And I became a really good coach at Mississippi Valley State University.
Right.
Really good coach. I mean, there's no experience I could have had in any other situation that I couldn't have gotten. I mean, that I didn't get at Mississippi Valley. I had to do everything. You're talking about doing everything, no budget at all. And it's a school where they don't even give their kids Pell Grant.
Wow.
So you got to be creative from a recruiting standpoint. You got to go around the whole school and sell your vision from an excitement standpoint. You got to do all these things. And whenever you go to a school, and you can tell when a school really loves athletics and supports athletics, go around to the other departments and see if there are any posters or anything like that of athletics. A picture here, on the wall or so and so. If there ain't none, that school ain't supporting athletics. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
That's your telltale right there. All you got to do is go to the business department, to the administrative offices. If ain't no pictures of athletics, you know what I'm saying, on those walls and things like that, athletics is not they want it to be, but it's really not. You know what I mean?
Right.
That means that the support's not there because it's not ingrained. And fortunate for me, I played at the most historical college basketball program in all America. And I got the chance to take my guys there, and I showed them everywhere we went, whether it was a restaurant, whatever, you see Kentucky basketball. You know what I mean? Like, Coach, they support. Yeah, this is like a cult. This state is paralyzed when Kentucky basketball is playing. And they saw the support. How can you not be successful? It's whoever coaches at Kentucky still going to have an opportunity to win the championship. That's just the way of life. Because everybody is in cahoots to win a national championship. North Carolina, Duke. You know what I mean? Though they may drop a little bit, but at the same time, the support, you're going to have everything you need to be successful. And it's just not the coach. It's not about me. It's about we. And when you have major support, that's when you get it.
Right.
You doing this thing by yourself and nobody can help you, they're doing their own thing. It makes it that much harder. And that's what I had to do. And then by the time I left, the support was there, but I had gone on and put myself in a position to get another job. But this situation is different. It's fun, but everybody can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And some of the strongest coaches in America are down at this level. Because a lot of coaches wouldn't have the patience to deal with some of the things that you have to deal with at this level.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Because if you're used to having, you come down here, you'll get consumed with just complaining about what you don't have more so than what you do have to be successful, you know what I'm saying, in the realms of your situation.
Yeah, I'll let Kevin get one more. And Coach, I got a funny question to ask you. I always ask, what's a funny story before you leave? So that's the next one, but Kevin's got this one.
Yeah, I think you mentioned it, with the challenge of, you go out there and the mindset is like you're going to get beat down for a couple months. And obviously you guys have had the opportunity to get some wins under your belt, be it, 500 going into your last non-conference game, win some games, that on paper no one would expect you to win. Is there a mentality shift when it gets to conference play of like, okay, here's now our opportunity to go make some noise, get into the NCAA tournament, all this? Or is it, look, we're out there to compete, we're out there to win? Because like you said, that's how you're wired, right? It's winner go home in every game. Like, how do you approach the mentality change to conference play coming up?
Well, you what you do is when you are playing a juggernaut, a lot of times you start statistically gauging. And what I mean by that is, you may lose the game, but okay, I want to see, I want to see how many times I can score out of a timeout. Okay, I want to see, the rebound discrepancy. I want to be competitive rebounding wise. I want to be competitive with assist to turnover ratio. I want to be competitive, see how many times we can turn them over. I want to see how many times what I'm running doesn't work against these guys. You know what I mean? That type of deal. Because 9 times out of 10, you come into the league, the best team may only have 3 wins before conference starts. As you can see right now, besides us having 6, the next most is somebody with 3 wins. So you got to change your whole deal. It's almost like wait till we get to SWAC. Well, that's not me. I want to continue to build my program to where, we're competitive and get, have an opportunity to win every night. And scheduling is a part of it. And, you want to be strategic and look and see who, when you are scheduling these high major teams for guaranteed money, you got to look at their roster and how many guys they got coming back, so on and so forth. So it's more into it than just scheduling a game just for guaranteed money. But it's I've never been that way. You know what I mean? Like I told you before, the first 3 months of the season, I'm cuckoo because I am getting beat, and there's nothing that I can do about it. You know what I mean? And when you're watching tape, you're like, man, if he'd have just stepped over here, if he'd have done this, you know how it go be.
Yep.
And I'm very critical of what I do, and I'm very organized, and when you stay the course, sooner or later that program is going to come up to where you're competitive every night, no matter who you're playing and what league, and that's where we are right now, and we want to stay this way. But I was able to really recruit, well, not just me, but my staff and I were able to recruit through the transfer portal some guys that fit, that came from other high mid-major schools that did play, and those where they came from, they won. So you want to get guys that already have that winning pedigree, not just a high major guy and he didn't play or comes from a losing program where he's not going to help you because mentally he still don't understand a winning culture.
Mm-hmm.
So you trying to get guys that come from winning cultures. I learned that from George Carl when I was a rookie. He said, the reason why I like you is because you come from a winning culture. I want to be around winners. And that's how I recruit. You can you can average 36 points, 30-some points in high school, and your team was just okay. Well, you used to shooting all the balls.
Yep.
and you're never going to buy into what we're trying to do because you're not getting enough shots, not getting enough minutes, so on and so forth. And that's why there's so many people transferring right now.
Right.
You know, instead, because we live in a microwave society and everybody wants it now. Every kid in America, even when you recruit them, their handlers or the people who told you about them, the first thing they say is, and B, you from Texas, this is the main phrase. He's a pro. You know what I'm saying? Okay, he's a pro. Is he a $1,000 a month pro over in BFE, or is he an NBA pro? Which one? Because if he's an NBA pro, you ain't calling me, you calling somebody else. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's where you got to have your own niche of who you are and who you want to coach and what fits. Because for me, everybody can't play for me because I'm a high major guy. So if you don't feel that you need to work that hard, or don't want to work that hard, or don't have the vision for yourself as I do, then I'm the wrong guy to coach you.
Right.
Because my expectations are so high and I'm not settling. So I'm going to drive you and I'm going to win. So, you know what I'm saying? That's where you have to be strategic and smart when you're recruiting, because if you're just taking a kid and you don't know him, then it's like a flip of a coin. You don't know if he's going to be be able to be coached. You don't know what type of attitude does he have, you know. So now, especially with this transfer portal, you really have to do your homework and ask the major questions to those schools that teams leave. Tell me the truth. Just be honest with me. Why is he leaving? Why are you giving him the okay to leave? Evidently, you didn't want it for some odd reason. Tell me why. Now, because he didn't work out with you, that doesn't mean he may not work out for me, but at least give me everything, because I'm gonna do it to you. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna let you know exactly why the kid's leaving. I may not want him to leave, or if I did want him to leave, this is why I wanted him to leave. So it's more strategic now in recruiting, and that's what I learned from Mississippi Valley. You got to get the right piece, because everybody couldn't handle Mississippi Valley. Right. You're in the middle of nowhere. You know, you ain't got no money, you ain't got nothing. So who can I get that can help me win championships, that can stand this type of culture and this type of environment? So
I got one for you to end. So funny stories anytime in your career, either playing, coaching, that you can share with us that's era appropriate, whatever you got for us.
I was a player, okay, and it was Coach Pitino's first year at Kentucky, my sophomore year, and we were undefeated at home, but winless on the road. And we're playing Mississippi State, and it's a tight ball game, and we're down 3. And you know, I was known as a penetrator and kick and all that type of deal, and Coach Pitino calls a timeout, and the play was for me to come off a high ball screen, penetrate in, draw somebody and kick to one of the guys, John Pelfrey, whoever, Richie Farmer, Travis Ford, whoever, for 3.
Right.
Well, for the first time in my life, I lost my mind. I ran this guy off the screen, ball screen, and I got in the lane, and it like parted like the Red Sea. I went in there and I'm like, man, I put it in, and I'm doing this. And my teammate Reggie Hansen looked at me and said, Woody, we needed a 3. And I looked, I'm like, oh man. And Coach Pitino, I don't know how he got the ball. And he was looking at me as we were going off the court like, I ought to throw this ball. You know what I'm saying? You trying to be a hero, so-and-so, and you shoot a 2-pointer instead of a 3, you idiot. You know, so that's my crazy story about me just losing my mind and a very funny moment. And trust me, my teammates to this day, when we get together, they never let me live that down.
I love it.
I love it too. I love it. Coach, we appreciate you taking the time, man. Congratulations on the success so far. We know you're not done. You got more to do, and conference play will be great. And I hope you guys have a great holiday season and stay healthy, and excited to see what you guys continue to build, man. You've done a great job with the program in general. You are a great basketball coach, so we appreciate you coming on. And obviously we acknowledge you guys as the team of the week, so keep up the great work.
Appreciate it, man. No doubt about it, man. Kev, good meeting you, man. And B, you know, you like my little brother, man.
No doubt. Good luck the rest of the way, Coach. Thanks, man.
Take care.
All right, we let Kevin Sweeney always shut us down. Thanks, Coach Woods, for coming on, and we'll let Kevin give his final thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they have an opportunity, I think, to compete for a championship in SWAC. Really talented group. Tough. I think, like he alluded to, so the guys they brought in were winners.
Yep.
They brought in the Whitley kid from Murray State. He's been solid for them shooting the ball. That's a winning program right there. They bring in PJ Bird, who's at VCU and Colorado State. Those are two programs we know how to win. So I think that obviously, you hear him say that, and then you look, and the proof is in the pudding right there. And that's why they've been as successful as they have. Certainly an insightful guy. I think, hopefully if you watch this one, you learn something about how college basketball really operates. And,
right.
It's even more impressive what they did against Kent, knowing what they went through travel-wise the day before, because I was delayed for an hour in O'Hare on Sunday, and I was pretty annoyed. I was pretty bored. So definite shouts to them for spending 8 hours just in airports, because they had a 4-hour delay and then a 4-hour layover. So they spent 8 hours in airports.
Yeah, full day. They left at 3, and he basically said they went to sleep at more or less got to the room at 1:32.
24-hour day.
It's a 24-hour day. So just travel. Yeah,
nothing
like college basketball when you have to travel and you get stuck in the airport. It's one of the worst. And if you have a game at that point the next day, it's even worse. So, shout out to the HBCU grind is a different grind. And like you said, you're working to make money for the institution, and that's how you fundraise, because you just don't have the same dollars. So when you are in that position where you're trying to fundraise and traveling and playing, whoever will pay you the most you can get. Sometimes it does mean you have to go from one coast to the next, literally coast to coast, like this show is about. So, it's great to see Coach Woods. He's had a ton of success, obviously, as a player playing at Kentucky, and then Mississippi Valley, one of the harder jobs in Division I, period. And to take them to the tournament, it says a lot about his ability to lead. So I know Moorhead, he was doing great things as well, and now he's at Southern building that up. So looking forward to seeing more, and we'll have a couple more guests this week. And after that, let everybody hang out for the holiday. So, Sweeney, in the meantime, till I see you again, deuces.